Hey, y'all, it's Kathy Ann, lead visionary over here at Fertile Room Lifestyle, and this is one of our interviews that we're going to be doing for our Empowered Mama Moments. And tonight we have Mama Omi. And Mama Omi, I first met her actually at the DeKalb Farmers Market, huge farmers market here in Georgia, where my husband recognized her first and introduced me and told me who she was. And she was actually with one of her doula clients when I first met her in person. And she's someone that I have followed for many years now, because that was back in 2011, because I was pregnant with my daughter at the time. So it's been a little while, and back then I found out about her doing massage therapy and yoni steam and such. And since then, she has moved on to another state, which I'll let her share that with you, and doing great things there. So, Mama Omi, you can go ahead and introduce yourself and let the people know who you are.
Well, greetings. My name is Omitola Ogunshina. I'm affectionately known as Mama Omi. I am the founder and I guess owner and operator of Divine Waters, as well as the Mbutu Wellness Academy, as well as the founder of Daughters of the Moon. I am a doula. I'm a massage therapist. Like you said, I'm a yoni steam practitioner. I'm an herbalist. I'm a metaphysical minister. I'm just busy as hell, plus working a full-time job. So, yeah, I'm a lot. I wear many different hats.
That's good, though. It's a lot of wonderful work you're doing out there to help women, so that's great.
I appreciate that.
Yes, that's great. All right, so we're going to go and get into the questions that we have set aside to help guide the women that we're focusing on who will be listening to this recording and being part of our Empowered Mama Moments. So the first question that I have is, what are one or two empowering things that you did before, during, and after your pregnancy?
Actually, my pregnancies didn't have a lot of empowerment moments for me. And that's because I got pregnant young. So when I was pregnant, and I got pregnant 3 times. So I have 4 children. My last 2 are twins. And when I got pregnant at the age of 19, I really didn't have a great support system. I basically, did what I saw every other woman do. You go to the hospital, you do what the doctor tells you, you come back. You go to the hospital when the doctor tells you it's time to go to the hospital. You have the baby. You do what they tell you to do while you're in there having the baby, and then you go home. So I really didn't have, great self-empowering moments at that time. But I did, for my last pregnancy, have a much better support system, but still not really connecting to the whole process of childbirth and what goes on after childbirth, if that makes sense. I really wish I would have, and that's what motivates me in doing the work that I do, because I want women to be able to have information. I know what it is to go into the birthing room without having that information, without having that education. And when I say education, just that awareness of yourself, your body, the process, how to connect to it. I know what it is to go in there and basically surrender your power. There's a lot of things that I learned as a doula and working with other women, and even as a midwife apprentice, that I didn't know when I was having children. And I often use that as part of my teaching when I talk to women about pregnancy. I will use my experiences in the birthing room to talk to them and to get them to understand it.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting how when we go through things that, you know, as we live our life, it ends up being teaching moments for us and then experiences we can share with others to help them do better or do more beyond what we went through. So that's great, and it's wonderful that you're doing that doula work because it's so needed, so needed. Because I was lucky to have and fortunate to be able to have a midwife and a doula when I did my home birth with my daughter. So, yeah, so I understand that work, and I benefited and thoroughly enjoyed it. So I love that you're doing that. All right, so the next thing we have here is, how was your diet before, during, and after your pregnancies?
Child boo, I ate everything. If you stood still long enough, I'd bite you. My diet, actually, when I was pregnant with my eldest daughter, that's when I stopped eating canned food because my doctor had me cut out canned food because of the high salt content. And even she's 26 now, so it's like 26 years later, the most canned food I'll do is maybe some stewed tomatoes. And, you know, maybe a can of black beans if I don't feel like cooking them so I can make some burgers or something like that. And I rinse them off. But but as far as my diet in general, I didn't have, that's one of those things that, you know, they don't really tell you the importance of it unless they see that you're obese while you're pregnant. You know, they don't really sit down. At least when I was having children like 20 some odd years ago, there wasn't a big conversation about, let's talk about your diet. Let's talk about the benefit of nutritional food and how it's going to help in the milk production and, you know, the nutritional value of the milk. Let's talk about, you know, the fact that you're not eating for two per se. You know, don't let yourself get caught up in that because you're going to eat, and then you're going to put yourself in a rut after you had the baby trying to struggle losing all this weight. They didn't talk about the importance of, you know, getting some movement. You know, everybody says, oh, you're pregnant, sit down and put your feet up. No, get up, walk. Try to do some yoga. Try to get some things in. So they didn't talk about that, and to be honest with you, I wasn't interested in it. So if I can I'm pregnant, I'm eating for two and get me an extra slice of pizza and a cheeseburger, then that's what I was going to do.
Oh, my.
I did. I basically lived, let me see, my first daughter was, she was my Chinese food baby.
Ooh.
My son was my McDonald's baby. And my twins were every and anything I could put in my mouth babies.
Wow.
Yes. So I enjoyed eating, and I enjoyed saying that I was eating for two. I'm pretty sure I have a T-shirt and a banner around here that says that. But, yeah, my diet was not great while I was pregnant.
Okay. And it's interesting that you – I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and see, that's something, again, that's one of those things that I work with women on now. And I do give them that information on the nutrition and let them know, like, the baby is going to get even no matter what you eat, the baby is going to get the best of that. And then, you know, there's still junk flowing around in the system. So even though the baby's going to get the best of that cheeseburger, it doesn't mean it's the best quality of what they could be getting if you were eating a more balanced diet.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good information for other women out there who are planning to get pregnant to have. And one of the things, like you mentioned about your daughter being the Chinese baby and your son being the McDonald's baby and your twins being the eat everything babies. When I was in training to be a health coach back in 2005, 2006, one of the things that stuck with me from part of my training was this lady shared her story about how she ate when she was pregnant with both her daughters. How when she was pregnant with one daughter, she ate healthy, she paid attention to what she ate, she was very particular about her diet, and then the other daughter, she didn't care what she ate, she just ate whatever. And then as young women, the daughter who she paid attention to how she ate was slim, didn't have any problems losing weight, didn't have any problems staying healthy. The daughter who she ate whatever she wanted always had medical issues, had problems losing weight, was, sick and stuff like that. And that stuck with me. That stuck with me so much that when I was preparing my body to get pregnant, I remembered that story. And that helped me to always focus on I need to do the best. I need to eat the best I can with the budget that I have as I'm preparing my body. And then when I got pregnant, same thing. My diet was 90% raw vegan at the time. And when I was 4.5 months pregnant, just to even take it up a notch, my husband and I drove from Georgia to Texas to train with Dr. Akua to become raw vegan chefs so we can really know how to prepare our foods for this pregnancy. That's how we took it. So it's very important, to really pay attention to what you're eating. And then ultimately with my pregnancy, my pre-pregnancy weight was 6 pounds different than my post. Like when I gave birth, it was a 6 pounds difference. And my daughter weighed 5 pounds, 12 ounces. So I only gained 6 pounds my whole pregnancy. Yeah, so, I felt like a lot of it had to do with the diet that I was on and how I was eating. And she was healthy.
She was healthy. I had a sister who she ate very well, and she did yoga all throughout the pregnancy. And when I trained women, be it in childbirth education or in the doula training, they tell you to look for signs. And we were so shocked at how smoothly she transitioned to 10 centimeters that even Mama Omi was like, nah, check her, because I don't believe, because we were just surprised, because the only time we heard her really make any noise was when the baby was crowning. Other than that, she transitioned so smoothly, we were just and so I think that was a mixture of not only good diet and
but
good
her
exercise, but also like a really balanced relationship, because she was in a really healthy, really balanced relationship. And I think all of those played a part in how she birthed.
Definitely. I believe that so strongly. Let me tell you, that holistic approach, it's because even the morning when I went into labor and I called Mama Saranda and told her that my water broke, it was like 10:30 that morning, and she said, okay, call her back. After, I started getting contractions at how far apart they are, I called her back to tell her. And they were sporadic. It wasn't like a consistency. It wasn't like a formula to it. It wasn't a flow. They were just coming when they were coming, and that was it. And based on that, she said, I don't think you're going to go in, I don't think you're going to have the baby today, but I'll just come over and I'll check you, and then we'll see. She came over. She checked me. I think I was 3 centimeters, if I remember correctly. And she said, okay, just hang around for a little bit and see if you progress, and, I might not need to stay. Within an hour, she was like, I'm going up to the car to get my stuff. She went up, got her oxygen. She got she brought everything downstairs. We started setting up the pool and all of that. But I still didn't have my daughter till later that night, like 7:30 in the evening. But I was fine. Like when the surgeons came, I went with them, and because even after I got into the water when it was time, she had me check the baby's head internally to see how many joints on my finger the baby was away from, coming out. And it was 2 joints. And she's like, okay, so you have 2 more pushes. I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting there. The next push, the baby came out.
Wow.
She didn't wait for the second push. She just was like, she was ready. She just came out, went into that water, popped up, and that was it. She was ready. So, yeah, my experience, for me, I think was a great one. I didn't have a huge lot of complications or anything like that. The only issue I had during my pregnancy was really sciatica. And that, Mama Saran had a cure for it. She had me do tinctures of St. John's wort and succat. And that took care of it. That took care of it. I was happy to know that, and I use that to this day. When I do a lot of driving and I sit for long periods of time, I pull my tinctures out and I'm good. So that has carried on beyond pregnancy.
I love tinctures. So, yeah, those are really good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's keep flowing here. So basically the next thing that I want to ask about is you did mention that your babies were all born in hospitals, but with you working with women and as a doula and a birth worker, what type of environments have you been working in with the women that you work with?
I have worked in hospitals, I have worked in homes, and I have worked in birthing centers. And I would have to say in order, it would be homes, birthing centers, and then hospitals that I love. I love the home environment because it allows the woman to have a sense of control. It allows the father to be more active in participating with the birth. It allows them to have more intimacy, because the one thing I always tell my clients is this birth is about 1 and 2, and the third one that you made, I'm just an accessory. So it allows them to have those intimacies, to be together, and to really kind of dictate the type of birthing experience they want to have. Birthing centers I like because they're very similar to homes, but they have that medical in case of emergency. Hospitals, I've been very blessed to work in some really awesome hospitals, especially in Georgia. I had one mom that we birthed, oh my God, I'm getting aged. I can't remember, but we birthed at Emory. Was it Emory? I don't know. No,
Emory Hospital? Downtown?
I can't Lord help me. I'm getting old. But we birthed.
There's Atlanta Medical Center also. Was that it, or was it a different one?
I think it was Atlanta Medical Center. But I did both of her births, and just so happened the way the cars divined, because her children were like about a year, maybe 2 years apart, and we ended up with the exact same team we had on the first birth at the hospital. So they were used to me having Mommy Omi. They were used to my essential oils. And the second time we did a water birth, and so while the husband and I were bent over the pool tending to Mommy, we had a nurse behind us rubbing our backs.
Oh, good.
And so they loved us. When they saw us coming, they were like, yes, let's do it. And that's what I like. Like, I really had some good responses. I've only had one negative experience in a hospital. I think that was more of a racial thing, and it just reasserted that black women do not belong in hospitals birthing.
Oh, goodness.
Because, and that's just I understand the importance of it. I understand that if there is an emergency, that's where we need to go. But I've witnessed racism in the hospital, in communication between white doctors and black mothers. Right. I had one client who was an African, born in Africa. She was from South. No, where was she from? I know her husband was from Ghana, but they were African, and the doctor was a white South African. And he kept saying to her, I'm African too, which did not sit with her. That just made her more upset. And then when we found out she was going to have a cesarean, he says to her, don't get mad at me, blame your mother. She's the one that gave you the faulty cervix.
Oh, no.
And so these are times when, as a doula, I'm walking a fine line, because the professional in me is trying to stand strong, but the hood in me wanted to snatch him up by his curly head and pretend like I was Bam Bam from the Flintstones and just swing them from side to side.
Oh, my.
I couldn't do that. But those are the type of things that I have witnessed in hospitals. And so I just really feel like, we as black women need more doulas in the community. We need to get out of our mind that doulas are just for rich people. Because I've had women say that to me too. I've had a good friend who was pregnant, and I tried to get a doula. Oh, that's what rich white people do. No, it's important for us as Black women to have access to information, education, and know our rights. To have somebody who can speak for us when we're in that stage of labor where we can't speak, or we can, because I'll tell the husbands, I'm there to support you when she can't communicate, let's outline the things that, you're going to be saying to the doctor that you're going to take over. When she's in the hospital and they come in with too many questions, know that you can say, look, I'm going to need y'all to come back with this, or I'm going to need y'all to talk to me. I've had mothers go into hospitals to go into triage, and they say the husband can't come. And, we get into those type of conversations. So it's a very interesting dynamic I've even worked with a white woman before, and she came to me because she was mistreated, because she cried when because she wanted to have her third child vaginally. And her previous 2 pregnancies, she was told by the doctor that it was a life or death situation and she had to have a cesarean. When she got her records, she found out that the doctor put in there, mom didn't want to birth vaginally. She made a choice to have a cesarean. And it broke her heart. So she called me, and it wasn't, I wasn't like, because I was there, she had a vaginal birth, but she called me. She had a very good doctor in Atlanta who does VBACs. And so this time she walked in there with a team of people who were working for her instead of working in their own best interest.
Do you know the name of that doctor who was because I know a doctor who does, but I don't know if it's the same one you're talking about.
I'm going to have to look him up because it's been about 8 years now.
8 years, okay.
Has it? Am I lying? It's been about 7 or 8 years now. I'm asking my daughter, am I lying? And she looking at me like, how am I supposed to know?
Because I know Dr. Boots Taylor, he does VBACs, and he's known for that. And Mama Saran is one of the midwives that he refers to. So I don't know if he's the one or might be somebody else.
Obviously, I can find out through a friend of mine. This is a Jewish doctor. Okay. And I know that because he's so good at what he does, and he was so respectful, and he was so patient, and he presented the information to the family and left and gave them room to talk about it. It was so funny, because he was checking her vaginally. And when he checked her, he hit the bladder, and she peed. And he got wet a little, and all the nurses just kind of ran. And he just looked at them so calmly. He was like, you do understand this is why we have showers and dryers and washing machines downstairs, right? And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, oh, my God, I think I'm in love. Like, he's like, what you running for? It's not ideal, but this is why we have a laundry room. So, he was very calm. You could tell he's been doing this for a long time. Not the first time he got shot with pee. Just keep it moving. It's all in a day's work. But I can find his name and send it to you so that you can add it to your information.
Yeah, that would be nice to have. So when I do write it up, I can add it to that. Because then women in the Atlanta area would be able to, if he's still practicing, be able to connect and have that access too, because that would be great. That would be great to have. So talk to me about birth plans.
Birth plans are important. They're important for not only the hospital, but they're also important for the family. They're important for the mother. They're important for the partner, because it pulls them into being actively involved and accountable in the process. It also helps them to open up dialogue with their primary care providers. It helps them to, understand what is feasible, what's not feasible. And I always tell my families to have some flexibility in it in case of an emergency. Like when I go in and I do births, I always go in with, we're going to leave with a healthy baby, a healthy mama, a healthy daddy, and we're going to call it a day. But in case there is something that happens, you know, I want them to have that flexibility. I talk very clearly with them. Women should start working on birthing plans as soon as they can. It's going to go through many evolutions. You know, once you find the doctor that you want to work with, and they're working at the hospital, or once you find the midwife you want to work with, once you find the doula, once you decide whether you're going to breastfeed or you're going to bottle feed, are you going to keep the placenta, are you going to do a water birth, do you want to move around, you know, so it's going to go through many transitions, but you want to be able to have something so that when you get into those doctor appointments, you can have your questions ready for the doctor. You and your doula and your midwife and your partner and, you know, whoever's in your circle, you're getting education, you're having conversation, you're going and you're making informed decisions, you're going and you're asking informed questions. And then you're taking responsibility for your birth experience instead of doing what I did, and many women do, and basically just walk in and say, you know, do with me what you will. And it's because we really don't know any better, because we have not been told. I didn't know what a doula was until 2009. And by then I had already had 4 children. And I realized at the time, because I had attended births before, I was already doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know what it was. I kept seeing this thing, like, what the hell is a doula? What is this? What's going on? And it wasn't because at the time I was running a child care. I was running my own family daycare out of my home. And I had mommies who went into labor, and a couple of them I attended their births. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was just being nosy, because I was like, ooh, I get to see a baby be born. But, you know, I was with them. I was walking with them. I was talking to them. I was coaching them. And I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. And that's when I decided to get more into it. But that birthing plan is valuable, because like I said a couple of times, it opens the door, it pushes the mom, the partner, everybody to be, especially the mom and the partner, to be actively involved, to be accountable for their birthing experience.
Very good, very good. That's some good information for women to have, so they'll know kind of a template of what they need to address when they're working on a birthing plan. So that's really good. So as we round this out, what is one thing that you would like to tell other women who are preparing for pregnancy, and one resource that you would love to recommend that they have as they prepare, and then even when they find out that they're pregnant?
The first thing, as far as I'm concerned, in women who are preparing for pregnancy, make sure you're getting pregnant for the right reason. I've worked with women, and it's so funny, and I hate to laugh at this, but sometimes y'all tickle me. I get women that ask me, do you have some type of spell? They want some juju to help them get pregnant. I'm like, what, explain to me what's going on in the situation. And they're involved with a man who doesn't have a job, who is in and out the home, who is really not respecting them. You know, all these things going on. And I'm like, honey, before you do anything else, you need to look at your situation. Is this really the situation that you want to get pregnant in? Is this really the environment that you want to be pregnant in? So make sure that you are getting pregnant for the right reason, number one, because that plays a very serious role in as to whether or not you're going to have issues conceiving. And then when you conceive, what type of pregnancy are you going to have? And then when you go into birth, what type of birthing experience are you going to have? Because all of those issues can spill into the birthing room.
Mhm.
And people don't understand those things can make that cervix say, we ain't opening up, not doing it, I'm not coming out. You pushing and the baby in there trying to sew it up. Like, nope, not coming out, not happening. And so you want to make sure that you're in a good space for yourself. You want to make sure that you're in a good space with the person that you're with, and you want to make sure that you're in a good space to bring a baby home, because babies do not save relationships.
That's right.
Okay, babies, I love them. I have 4 of them. I had a daycare, but babies are stressful.
Oh, yes.
Babies are
a lot of time and energy. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that would be number 1. Number 2, go back and talk to your mom, if you can, about her birthing experience.
Ooh, girl, you're talking my language right there.
Go back and talk to your mother about their issues with conceiving, with, what they experienced during pregnancy, what they experienced during childbirth, and even what they experienced during those first couple of years of raising a child, of, getting to know this little person that they're bringing home. Stay away from people who are, child, it's going to hurt. Why are you going to do it that way? No, it's going to hurt. You're going to scream. You're going to do this. Listen, Eula May, keep your birth story to yourself in that sense, okay? I want to have this birthing experience. Make sure you have, if you choose to go a certain route, if you choose to have a birth at home, if you choose to have a natural birth with no medications or water birth, make sure that you have a support team. Make sure that you have a strong support team, not people who are going to pick at you every chance they get. And I know we don't mean to. This is our friend, and we're used to having that sister-girl conversations. I have sister-girl conversations every day. But I do tend to get on a little pedestal or a little high horse with this when we get the, I don't know what, girl, them contractions going to kill you. And I tend to get a little bit bougie and an attitude on that end. It's like, no, don't do that. So and I think I'm completely off the record. What else am I supposed to be answering?
No, you're right on track. You're right on track. You're sharing things that you would want to tell women who are preparing for pregnancy, and that's perfect.
Conversation today, and my conversation went to the whole right field, and my daughter was like, "Mom, I don't think." I said, "Yeah, I have a tendency to do that." Okay, so you want to make sure. You're right on track. Okay, good. I'm doing good today. So you're doing good. Make sure that you have those things in place. You want to look at how you're doing physically. Are you dealing with health issues? Are you dealing with mental issues? Are you dealing with spiritual issues? You want to be able to work on those things and heal them as much as possible, because while you're pregnant, guess what? You're going to be thinking, oh, my God, what kind of mother am I going to be? Am I going to be able to? And then you're going to look at what your mom did and what their grandmom did. And so it's like all these things are going to be running through your mind. What am I going to be able to offer this child? What can I do? What type of mom am I going to be? Well, my mom worked 2 jobs and took care of me. Am I going to have to do that? Can I do that? My mom was Superwoman. She could clean the whole house in pearls and heels. It's just, you have to decide the type of mom that you're going to be, that you want to be. You may take a little piece here from your mother and your father, and you may say, you know what, they did that and I don't agree with that, so I'm not doing that with my child. If you have any, I always like to say, if you have any childhood issues, start looking at those. You're not going to heal everything in 9 months. You may not heal everything before you get pregnant. But even acknowledging and recognizing that those are areas that you need to work on that those are areas that need to be discussed are important, because it also helps you decide the type of mom you're going to be and can help you to break that generational trauma, that generational womb trauma, the generational curses that we pass on to each other. And 9 times out of 10, they're not intentional. It's just it became so much part of our psyche, so much a part of who we are, that we do these things. Just like when you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, wash your face, you go through this whole routine. 9 times out of 10, you do it and you don't even realize, you do it mindlessly. And so it's important to start looking at these things. Look at your diet. Look at the type of food that you're putting in your body. Look at the type of, the type of environment that you live in. We are a little too old now, and there's a little too much information out there for us to keep on having oops babies. All these oops babies need to stop. Baby. And I'm a woman who's had some oops babies, okay? But I wasn't having them in my 30s. I'm going to need my sisters in my 30s to stop having these oops babies. We need to start really looking at what we're doing. And are we bringing these young children in good, healthy, loving environments? Mind you, I didn't say perfect. Because there's no, everybody has their definition of perfect. But I'm not talking about, Cosby Show or whatever type of perfect. I'm talking about loving, healing, safe, accountability, lesson learning, those type of things. That's what I'm talking about. So those are just some of the things I encourage, not only women, but men too, couples. Look at, even if you're in a relationship, talk to each other about your childhood experience. Talk to each other about what it is that you're looking to be able to be as a father, as a mother. How are y'all going to discipline the children? How are y'all going to raise it? We don't have conversations. And even, when we talk about getting married, we're so focused on the wedding that nobody ever talks about the marriage. That's the same thing about having a baby. We're so focused on, can we conceive? Nobody talks about actually raising the child. And raising the child starts from the moment of conception, not from the moment of birth. So how you treat yourself and each other during pregnancy reflects very deeply on what's going to happen after that baby is born.
You're so right. You're so right. And I'm glad that you mentioned the whole aspect of the relationships and what type of person you're going to have this baby with. Because I was in a relationship for 9 years, and deep down I knew that this wasn't going to be the person. But, being young and not being taught how to, claim what I needed for me, and just allowing others to just feed off of me kind of a thing, And I had to learn that. And that relationship ended up being 9 years and then I got to the point where I finally cut ties and was by myself, didn't want to be bothered with nobody.
Right.
Was by myself for almost 3 years. 3 years before I met my husband and got married. And before I even met him in that time, I was praying for. I was envisioning and imagining the type of man that I need to support me, the type of man that I can support, and the type of person, the type of situation that I wanted to be in,
Right.
Financially, what they needed to have and what I was bringing, and the type of home environment I would like to be in, and the type of people that they were around, and all of those things I was thinking about before I even met my husband. That's why when I met him, I knew he was who I was manifesting back then. Right. There was no question. And funny enough, one of the first conversations we had, he told me the same thing. He had gotten tired of the type of relationships that he had been in and the type of women who he kept attracting, and he wanted something different, and his wife needed to have locks and dark skin, and, all these different little things that was important to him. you know, and the way that this woman needed to be able to eat, you know, eat healthy. So all the little things that was important to him, I showed up with, and all the things that was important for me, he showed up with. So that's so important. That's so important.
It is important because, you know, I talked about the oops babies. Now, my 2 older children, love them. They are my life. I truly believe I was in this relationship for the only purpose to conceive them. But it was a very abusive relationship. And I was a sheltered child, so I didn't even recognize the fact that he was a drug addict.
Wow.
And so when I left their father and I married my husband, it was a different experience during the pregnancy. So maybe that's my empowering moment. I had a very different experience during the pregnancy. I was able to really enjoy being pregnant. I was able to see what it felt like to be pampered being pregnant. I didn't have to do it. I tell you what, though, I did get pissed off because when I was a child, I said I will never be the type of woman who is barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. Girl, I was home one day doing dishes, and I looked down, and I had no shoes on, and I was pregnant. I said, I'll be damned. So I hate to tell you, women, some point in your life, if you're going to have a child, you will be barefoot, pregnant, and in that kitchen. Whether it's choice or by need, you're going to be barefoot, pregnant, and in that kitchen. But
oh, my goodness.
I had a much more enjoyable birthing experience because I was in a more stable relationship. So it made a difference in so many different things. Like, you know, I had somebody who, when my feet were swollen, he bought me comfortable shoes and would walk me from the car to the office to make sure that I was okay. I had somebody who would, you know, make sure that I had my food and, you know, I had comfortable clothes and make sure that I was carrying my pillow back and forth to work for my lower back. You know, to somebody who would think of those type of things for me. And so that's why I say having that good support system from your mate to your inner circle to finding a good primary care person, be it a midwife or a doctor. Those things are so important because you have so many other things to worry about during pregnancy. It's like you don't need to add more onto your plate.
Exactly. And I like that you also talked about asking your mom about her pregnancy and things like that, because that is something that's so important. It was important for me to know as much as I could because my, you know, culture I'm from, Caribbean, Barbadian, and Bajan people, they don't talk much. You know, so a lot is hidden, a lot is not shared until you start asking questions. Then they'll only share what they want to share. So my mom was a teenage mom. You know, she was a teenage mom. She never married my dad. And the only thing I really know about her experience was, you know, the fact that she was young and then having that consistent diet of food was not there all the time. I remember her sharing the story to me of after I was born, just drinking sugar water just to make enough milk to feed me, that kind of situation. So in just knowing and understanding that, and then with the work that I'm doing with women, I have a pregnancy empowerment intensive that I do with women who are wanting to get healthy and eat healthier before, during, and after pregnancy, that I do a 4-hour intensive with them. And it takes them through this process that I created called the flow process. And the beginning of that flow process, where the F is fostering that relationship between your birth story and your adolescent story. So going back and talking to your mom about your birth situation. What type of relationship did she have with your father? Was it a healthy one? Were they together? Did they want to be together? You know, were your parents married? You know, what was her diet? So all those things, I get these women to go back and find out this information because that impacts them, like you already shared. And then having them look at their adolescent story. Like when you started having your first cycle, you know, were you well prepared? Were you educated? Were you taught how to take care of your body at that time of the month, where, you know, what to use, what not to use, you know, those kind of things. So I'm glad that you're sharing this, because it so connects and so speaks to what, you know, what I'm doing with women on my side of the world. So I'm loving that you're sharing that. So that's really, really good. And is there like a resource that you would recommend, this one thing, or you could even, you know, or two things that you would recommend to women to have, something to read, something, you know, a product that they can use, something that can help them as they prepare for this process?
If you are in Georgia, there are so many. I'm biased, so I love elder midwives. If you can get you a midwife, get you an elder midwife, like women like Mama Oshun, Mama Saran. I love these women. Amina Ali, I love these women. I am going to say especially Mama Oshun, because that's my mama.
Right.
And I've seen her work, and I swear she got magic in her hands, in her spirit. That woman is, couldn't nobody say nothing to me about that woman. I am so totally and utterly in love with that woman. And, you know, and of course, Mama Saran, because, you know.
Yeah, that's my midwife.
there you go. And, you know, as far as lineage, she comes from Mama Oshun.
Yes.
So you know she got magic in her hands.
Oh, yes.
And both of these women are connected to me because each one of them delivered my sister's children. So
nice.
So again, I know these women are magic. Find you an elder midwife, because with the elder midwife, not only do you get a woman who's going to deliver your baby, you get a friend, you get a mother figure, you get a woman who is concerned about your well-being. She wants to know what's going on at home, and not to be nosy, because she wants you to work out what needs to be worked out before you get into that birth. She wants to know, are you taking care of yourself? Are you eating right? What's your iron looking like? You know, come on, let's sit down and talk. Are you putting your feet up? What's going on? You know, those types of things.
Yes.
Doulas are excellent resources also. So getting yourself a good doula. One of my doulas lives in Georgia, and she's training. Rhonda Frazier, Protector of the Womb. She's down there with you, and she's training women, and she's doing births, and she's also a midwife apprentice. So she's just freaking awesome. So for my sisters, find you a sister circle. Especially a sister circle of women who have had, you know, births and want to do or have done a natural birth, a home birth, a natural hospital birth, whatever it is. We need sister circles. Women of color, black women more specifically, need to heal black women. We need each other. We need to hold each other's hands. We need to cry on each other's shoulders. We need to have that sisterhood. As far as books, I know, oh my goodness, I don't think there's enough of us out there writing books in regards to childbirth and black women. I know, what's the elder's name? Sharifa? Is it Sharifa or Shani? I feel so bad for not. She's with ICTC.
I'm not familiar.
I think her name is Shanifa Moore, either Shanifa or Sharifa. When you talk to Mama Saran, ask her about her.
I will.
I feel like poo because I can't. I worked a 12-hour shift today, so you're gonna have to forgive me for not
You're forgiven.
But you know, and I know there are more women out there doing it. I would love to see more of my elders with books, because they have so much to say and they've been so ignored.
Right. Like Mama Saran needs to write a book, and because actually when I was working with her, the book that she recommended for me was written by Dr. Viva Ram, and Dr. Viva Ram actually trained with her, with Mama Saran, and then decided to go.
I never heard of that book, so I would love for you to send me that information.
Yeah, I'm looking it up online. I don't remember the name because I don't have it in front of me right now. I'm looking up her book. I think it has to do with natural childbirth, and that's actually the recipe for the tinctures with the skull cap and the St. John's wort. She has that in her book.
Oh, okay.
And it has to do with it's all about natural childbirth. And on the front of the book is a picture of Dr. Viva Ram pregnant, actually.
And I would love to see women. I would love to see a book of Mama Ram.
Yes.
And Mama Oshun.
That would be great. Maybe somebody, you see, the thing is with them, someone might need to come and get the stories and write it.
Very true. Very true. So that's your next project. So your homework for today.
Hey.
You just talked yourself into some homework, and that's.
When I talk to her tomorrow, I will tell her what you said.
There you go. And that's how it's funny because that's how I teach my doula class. When they ask the question, well, guess what your homework is? So that's
So it's Dr. Viva Ram, and it's the Natural Pregnancy book, Herbs, Nutrition, and Other Choices, Other Holistic Choices. And that was the book that helped me, and that was the book that I used throughout my pregnancy that she had recommended.
Okay, and you said it's called The Natural
Pregnancy book, Herbs, Nutrition, and Other Holistic Choices.
Okay, I will be ordering that because it's pay week. So, yeah, I will be getting that book.
It's a really good book, and it has a lot of, it's herb-based. A lot of tinctures in there, salves and poultices, and, yeah, it's a really good book.
Who wrote the book?
Dr. Viva Ram.
How do you spell her first name?
Her first name is Aviva, and the last name is Romm.
Okay, because I got my daughter typing.
Yeah, Dr. Viva Ram. And she actually has a lot of other books, and she teaches a lot of herbal classes. So she's actually part of that herb guild. She holds a position amongst the herb guild people out of Asheville, North Carolina. She's connected with them somehow.
Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to definitely check her out. But, yes, tell Mama Saran we need a book. That's her homework assignment.
Well, I thank you for your time. I thank you for allowing me to pick your brain and have you share so that other women can go forth and make the right decisions as they're preparing for pregnancy and as they're wanting to have children and raise them in the world that we're living in now, which is quite different than when we were coming up. So, yes. I thank you, and I so appreciate what you're doing. And if you want to just tell the folks how they can connect with you, your website, where you are physically in this United States of America, and where you do business.
Well, I appreciate you thinking of me, first of all, and I appreciate this format. I love to run my mouth, as you can see. So this was absolutely wonderful, and I appreciate what you're doing, and I look forward to hearing them when you put them out.
Yes,
As I said, I am Mama Omi, and I am the founder and owner of Divine Waters. The website is divinewatersministries.org. .net. And through that website, you can find out about my doula services as well as my spiritual services and my womb healing services. I also operate Ubuntu, which is Ubuntu Wellness Academy. So that's UbuntuWellnessAcademy.com. And my goal is to make that like a full-fledged wellness stop for women, to whether you want to get certified to help other women or you're just looking for some personal care information. That is my goal. So we are looking for teachers who are looking for a platform to teach on or to teach through. Right now we have our birth doula class certification courses and our postpartum class certification courses, as well as herbal veggie steams. We do have some other classes that we're going to have coming up. I have 3 wonderful teachers, well, actually 4 wonderful teachers working with me. All of them have been with me in Ubuntu since day one, and all of them are certified and have been out there doing birth. So you can reach me through either one of those websites, or you can give me a call at 240-750-6890. That is my Google number that's attached to my cell phone, because, child, I learned a long time ago, don't give your cell phone number out. I used to get some of the weirdest phone calls, so y'all just going to have to reach me through my Google number and be announced. I am also on Facebook as Omitola Yejide Ogunshina, and that's a name that you ain't going to find nowhere else, so it should be really easy to find me. Or you can type in Mama Omi. So that's how you can get in touch with me.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So this has been great. This has been really good. And for those of you who are listening to the replay of this and you're wanting to get support in preparing for your pregnancy, learning how to eat healthier as you prepare, learning how to eat healthier during and even after, and taking care of that baby so they can have the best breast milk ever, I do have my Pregnancy Empowerment Intensive that I do, and that starts out with a 4-hour intensive with me, and then you get 9 months of support to follow you and coach you and help you along so you're successful in your journey. And you can go to Fertile Womb Lifestyle for that and get that information. So, again, I thank you, Mama Omi, and you have a wonderful and blessed night.
Thank you. I enjoyed you. You have a wonderful evening, too.
Okay, good night.
All right, good night.